Hello YouTube, Dane here. We have another character build, and this time we are dealing with the new book. Fizbin's has come out, our new dragon book, and there's all sorts of goodies to get in here. There's kind of cool build that ended up developing here, just sort of with that book worth of content. So I believe this is Adventure League capable because you get a book +1. But this is how to be the Human Flamethrower. Get into it. All right, we're back on the arena map just to show some demonstrations on how cones and stuff can work on the map. You're doing battle map scenarios. Otherwise, a lot of the times, if you're a theater of the mind, if you're within 15 or 20 feet or 30 feet or whatever your range is, cool, it just happens. So this is Verith Flame Fist, and we're playing a Dragonborn. Now, any of the new Dragonborns will work. For this particular build, I went with the Gem Dragonborn because it gives you some extra features and some cool things that I think edges it out for this particular build over the other classes, but you could be a chromatic or a metallic without any other problem. The main key here is the new way the Dragonborns use their breath weapon. Here we go. So, Gem Dragonborn, for ability scores, you get a +2 and a +1. They can't be the same, but whatever you want. Great. 30 feet of movement. Your gem ancestry, you pick a particular flavor. For this, we're going emerald because I like green. But any of these will work, technically. Amethyst, crystal, sapphire, topaz, doesn't matter. It's whatever flavor of Dragonborn you like. The main thing here is the breath weapon feature that the Dragonborn gets now. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace your attack with an exhalation of magical energy within 15 feet. Each creature in the area makes a dexterity saving throw. DC is based off of your constitution modifier. On a failed save, they take 1d10 of the damage associated with your ancestry. So for this one, Emerald Dragon, psychic damage, psychic breath. Great. The other thing here is you can use your dragon breath weapon a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, regaining all expended uses on a long rest. So basically, level 1, you get 2 of these. Level 5, you get 3 of them. Beyond that, you get more. But we're really only looking at level 3 and level 5 for this build. So it will be on the lower end, but it could be kind of cool if you're running a one-shot or a low-level campaign. Because this gives you a lot of tools and options. It's nice. Draconic resistance, so you get a resistance to the type of damage associated with your ancestry. So we'd have psychic immunity. If it's more applicable to have necrotic damage, radiant damage, force, or thunder, you could go with that as well. So it does that flavoring matter. More depends on your campaign. I think psychic is overall just sort of helpful and useful. You don't see a lot of thunder damage, and then necrotic if you're fighting a lot of big bad boys, or you're in an undead style campaign, or if you are the bad guys and have to deal with a lot of radiant creatures. Radiant. There's not a lot of things that do force damage, but it could be kind of cool to do force damage to other things. Our damage typing doesn't matter so much for this build, because you'll see that later. Also, Psionic Mind, so you can send telepathic messages with a creature you can see within 30 feet. You don't need to share a language, they just have to be able to understand a language. Great. Cool flavor ability that you can use to send one-way messages to people or creatures or weird things. Gem Flight at 5th level, you can use your bonus action to manifest wings. These wings last for 1 minute, and for the duration you have a fly speed equal to your walk speed. You can hover. Once you use this trait again, you can't until you finish a long rest. So the fly speed is kind of cool. The psionic mind is kind of cool. So those ones are going to be more flavor aspects that you can use to make your Dragonborn just a little bit more interesting. The class that we're going to go for is Monk. And we're going to take the Ascended Dragon feature. A lot of the typical Monk stuff is here, but the cool thing about the Ascended Dragon is at 3rd level, you get a breath weapon. Breath of the Dragons. You can channel destructive waves of energy like those created by the dragons you emulate. Dragonborn. Emulating dragons. Cool. I like it. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of your attacks with an exhalation of dragon breath, either a 20-foot cone or a 30-foot line. It's 5 feet wide, your choice. You choose a damage type between acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison, and each creature in the area makes a dex save against your key saving throw, so basically wisdom based. And then the damage is equal to 2 rolls of your martial arts die. And on a failed save, they take half as much. At 11th level, it goes up to 3 dice, but that's fine because we're not going that high. And then the key point here is you can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, regaining all expended uses on a long rest. So this as well, at level 3, when you start your proficiency bonus is still 2, you'll get 2 uses of this Dragon Breath and 2 uses of your Gem Dragonborn Breath as well. And then you can also spend 2 key points if you want to use the feature again. The other cool thing about this one is you do have Draconic Presence, so that gives you a little bit of bonus. If you fail intimidations or persuasion checks, you can use your reaction to re-roll those, and then once it turns a failure into a success, you can't do it again for a long rest. When you damage a target with an unarmed strike, Draconic Strike, when you hit somebody with an unarmed strike, you can choose to deal the damage type of acid, fire, lightning, cold, or poison. So this is very cool, where instead of doing the bludgeoning damage, you can hit for fire, you can hit for lightning, hit for poison. And then you also learn Draconic, but that doesn't matter in this case because we already know Draconic. So the main thing here, Fire Breath, breathe fire with your Fire Breath, punch fire with your Fire Fists, aka Flame Fist. So, the very basics of the character, at 3rd level, which we have presented to us here. If you want to stop and see statistics and stuff, you can just do a pause. I picked some stuff from the background, and I actually didn't even pick proficiency bonuses from the monk, but we would take stealth and acrobatics. Yeah. Don't even need to think about it. So 2 breath weapons per long rest from Dragonborn, 2 breath weapons per long rest from Breath of the Dragon, and then 3 key points. So the idea is you can sub one of your main action attacks to do your breath attack, either in a 20-foot cone, which is the red ones here, 20-foot cone, 20-foot cone, or 30-foot line, or you have the option of a 15-foot cone, which is our purples over here, kind of hard to see, our purples here, 20-foot cone or 20-foot cone. So that can be on any edge around Barith here. That for a second. Breathe it on this side. Rotate it this way. This side. So on. There's your 20-foot cones. The great thing is you can try to avoid your teammates by positioning these appropriately. Not having it sort of like I do. But you get the idea. Then if you're fighting a single target boy, then when you do this breath weapon attack, you just do the lines. Then you can ensure you're not going to hit your friends with the giant cones. But this is also really cool because then it opens up the monk to be able to deal AoE damage. So while the monk does get a number of attacks and you can spread them out over multiple targets, you still have to be able to get in range of them. And now this one, you can run up to a group of guys and then say, okay, you're approaching us here, have a big fire breath, and then still have your bonus action. And the cool thing is, with both of these abilities, it says when you take the attack action, you can replace one of your attacks to do this exhalation of breath. When you use the attack action, you can replace one of these attacks with the exhalation of dragon energy. So both of these still require you to use your attack action. Meaning, if we go back to the monk, you can see here, with the flurry of blows, immediately after you use the attack action on your turn, you can spend 1 key point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. So, what you can do at level 3, you can decide to use your breath weapon, take the attack action, use your breath weapon to exhale the breath, and then take the bonus action to then punch whoever remains 2 times. Now, there is a little bit of weirdness here because the martial arts ability says when you take the attack action with an unarmed strike or monk weapon on your turn, you can make one unarmed strike as a bonus action. So in this particular case, because the Dragon's Breath is not really a monk weapon or an unarmed attack, you can't use your martial arts bonus action, but you are still able to use the synergy with the Flurry of Blows because it only says immediately after you take the attack action. So this will kind of dictate how you're going to maybe spend some more of your key points. Whenever you do this breath weapon, you have 3 key points, you have 4 breath weapons. You're going to be able to then use one of your key bonus actions to be able to strike 2 more times if you need to dash or disengage. Or otherwise, when you have one last attack, one more dragon breath to still use, you may not be able to do something with the bonus action. So the Flurry of Blows does synergize, but the martial arts does not. So at least at the level 3 area, you're going to be able to Dragon's Breath, Punch Punch, and then Dragon's Breath, Punch Punch, and then Dragon's Breath, Punch Punch. All with potentially fire damage. Psychic on one of them at the very least, because your Gem Dragon Breath has to be that psychic damage. So you can always describe it as, oh, I spray fire, and then when it's the psychic time, it's going to be purple flames lick on, and the trauma in the mind is what hurts them, not necessarily their, or just a blast of noise or energy, however you want to describe it. So that is the very cool thing with the synergization with it not having its own action, but now being able to replace an attack action. You're able to then Flurry of Blows after using one of these cones. So you can do an AoE damage and still be primed to go into the Fist of Cups and do the punching. This gets even more cool at level 5. So the main thing at level 5, we get extra attack. So when you take the attack action, you can attack twice instead of once. Beautiful. So that means we can sub one of our attacks for the Breath of the Dragon, because this is one feature. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of those attacks with the Dragon's Breath, right? So first of my 2 attacks, I'm going to use my Breath of the Dragon attack. I'm going to breathe that fire. Now, the cool thing, level 5, we can see that the damage jumps up. It's equal to your martial arts dice, and your martial arts dice goes to a d6 at level 5. So that's going to be a 2d6 fire damage when we use that breath attack. Also, our proficiency bonus goes up by 1, so we have 3 uses of this breath. We also now have 5 key points, so you can see where this is going. We get 3 of those 2d6 fire damage attacks. We have 3 key points. We have 5 key points, but we have 3 to spend on our bonus action punching. Then also with the Gem Dragonborn, the breath weapon also says you can sub one of your attacks, replacing it with an exhalation of magical breath. These are different named features, so reasonably you should be able to use your monk breath attack and be able to hit a 30-foot line or a 20-foot cone, then use your Gem Dragonborn attack to sub your other attack and be able to use your breath weapon from here, which also goes up to a 2d10 at level 5, and you have 3 of these as well. So similarly to our conundrum in level 2, where we have 3 key points and 4 breath attacks, we now have 6 breath attacks and 5 key points. So you are able to absolutely devastate a group of people as a monk, and then still be able to go in there and punch whoever's still standing. Now, this does dedicate basically all of your key points, or that's going to be your bread and butter for your key point cycling. You're going to want to be able to use your bonus actions to do those attacks as much as possible. But this does open you up to be able to jump into other things, be able to take different feats that will use your bonus action so that you can still utilize it if you are not able to spend the key points. So something like telekinetic would fit really great at level 4. You could pick that up and then be able to push things away or manipulate the battlefield by shoving, with the telekinetic feat as the bonus action on those times where it's worth using your attack action to spray fire everywhere. Or if you want to, at level 5, you gain the capability of being able to use one breath attack, being able to attack with an offhand attack, and then using your martial arts. Because with the attack action, you have to do one strike with your unarmed strike or monk weapon. So if you do one attack with your breath, one attack with a fist, bonus action, martial arts. That will also kind of solve that problem. You'll have to break it up rather than being able to breath, breath, double punch. You'll have to breath, punch, punch. But that also saves a little bit on the action economy, where if you want to save your key points and you do not want then to commit all of your key points to doing 2 attacks as bonus action, you could very well then split it up there and have basically 6 rounds of breath attack, punch, bonus action, punch. And those 2 punches, maybe you're going to use your 5th level feature, Stunning Strike. So you get most of the capabilities at level 5. This sort of peaks at level 5 in terms of efficiency, since you don't get any more attacks. You can't breathe 3 times. But the cool thing is, you have a lot of things open with your Way of the Ascendant. You also pick up your flying at level 5. So basically all of your abilities come online. You could stick True Monk. You also have access at level 6. You can unfurl your wings whenever you take your Step of the Wind action. That means you'll have wings from being the Gem Dragonborn. You'll have wings for being this Ascendant Way of the Ascended Dragon features. There's a lot of synergy between the two where, yes, the abilities do overlap, but the redundancy is really nice because then you have more options available to you to do some of the same features rather than like a 1 a day like the Aasimar with the wings. Now you have the 1 a day from your class, and then you have that whenever you use the Step of the Winds, you also speed. And flying speed on a monk, I feel like, is pretty powerful. Because the one main benefit, or the one main downside, is if you have to bridge a long distance or if there's a flying monster. Well, now it's like, haha, I'm a dragon, sir. Level 4 is kind of the weird spot because the feat doesn't really matter. For my abilities here, sticking with the standard array for the features, we're a little low on the stats here. So we put the 15 in dexterity, the 14 in constitution, the 13 in wisdom. The modifier bonus of +3 with a +2 on the constitution and a +2 on the wisdom, which means that our DCs are going to be 12 and 12 at level 3. So they'll be the same DC, your breath weapon from your Dragonborn using your constitution bonus, your breath weapon from the monk class obviously using your wisdom bonus. Having your wisdom bonus bumped up might be beneficial to be able to do better stunning strikes, and then also will help our Dragonborn at level 5. So the main benefit to leveling up, taking that feature, would be to round out this odd score. So you could, if it's just ASIs that you're taking, you can put 1 into here, 1 into Dex, and then be able to grab a Dex feat next time. Or the one thing that I went with the Wisdom, I went with the Gift of the Dragon. Gift of the Gem Dragon. Why not? We're going all in on this Gem Dragon business, so let's take that feature as well. So what this does is it gives us a bonus to Wisdom, Charisma, or Intelligence. So we're going to take Wisdom. That'll put our Wisdom at 16. We get Telekinetic Reprisal, so when you take the damage from a creature within 10 feet of you, you can use your reaction to cause emanate telekinetic energy. That creature makes a strength save against your DC is your proficiency bonus, and then whatever you took the increase on, which would be wisdom in this case. So it would be a wisdom-based saving throw for them, for their DC. On a failed save, they take 2d8 force damage and are pushed 10 feet away. On a successful save, they take half as much damage, and you can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. So you'll basically get 3 of those times that you can punish somebody for harming you. This would be kind of cool on a monk because you're going to be a little bit on the front line. So if somebody does hit you with the lower AC that you have as a monk, you're able to sort of punish them back for harming you. As I said, telekinetic would be a great one to have on there too. So if you don't have anything to use that bonus action on, if you're not going to utilize, if you're going to go breath weapon, and then not use the key points, you are still able to move somebody out of the way or move somebody in the way. If you think about it, if somebody's 5 feet out of your range, you could try to shove them into your range and then do the double breath weapons on them. That could be kind of fun. I think the battlefield manipulation, especially when you're like sort of min-maxing cones and stuff, that would be a benefit to have. So you could do that. You could do even any of the half feats, like if you like observant or you like fate touched. You know, fate touched, you could get access to bless on a monk, as well as a misty step. You need to break out of a grapple. Those could be cool, but I think Gifted the Dragonborn is would be my top pick, and then the telekinetic or the battlefield manipulation, able to pull somebody close to you and then breathe a bunch of fire on him, sounds super cool. So I want to try this out. I think that would be an interesting build for the monk, where a lot of people think, oh, he's a monk, he's just gonna, do his 3 attacks or his 4 attacks, and then he's gonna move on, and then it's like, aha, breath weapons. Hey, bro, I hear you like fire damage. But again, you don't have to lock into one elemental ability. Fire would be kind of cool, but you are able to pick those other elemental types from the monk class as well. So it is the acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison, and then you're able to punch for those same elemental abilities as well. So it could be kind of cool to, if you have like a wizard on your team, any sort of spellcaster, sorcerer, or warlock, and you're trying to figure out what their resistances are. You could, one fist is going to be acid, one fist is going to be cold. One fist is fire, one fist is poison, and then I'm going to breathe lightning. You can mix so many elements in here, and really try to narrow down what their resistances are, what their immunities are, and then if you find a vulnerability, hell yeah, now you can just dedicate everything into that style of attack. My recommendation, as far as monks go, it would be better in this type of build, since we are relying on 3 of our 6 stats here. This would be better in a situation where you're rolling, or maybe doing a point buy where you can min-max yourself a little bit more. But I think you would get a fair use out of this character just sort of as it. A 12 and a 12 on your DC, even if you're just taking half damage, you can really soften up a group of people for the rest of your team to be able to sweep in there and kill. And it's just kind of a different take on the monk altogether. A lot of things are based on your proficiency bonus, so you're just going to get better from here. If you guys have played something similar, or you have any synergies, let me know in the comments and check it out. But I think that's all I have for Varith here. I'm very excited to see what the possibilities are with these new Dragonborns and this new Ascended Monk option. I'm hoping there's going to be more feats or something that might come into play that make this a little more interesting. But just as a base, if you want to go a pure monk and do something a little bit different, this is super cool. So I hope you enjoyed this one. See you guys in the next video. Good night.